Hi, good morning, everyone. What a lovely day today, and I feel very good sitting here. It's such a lovely place, very beautiful design, which actually gives me a lot of energy today, because design definitely adds a lot of value to your well-being, and I'm very happy to be here. Welcome to the discussion what we are going to have today on the nuances of bathroom areas, right? And I got a fantastic team of panelists here. I'm the least, how do I say this? I'm a civil engineer, so sitting in front of the architects is going to be quite difficult. But anyway, such a pleasure to be here. I would like to start with the introduction. So first of all, let me say my name is Shashidhar Sharma. I head the country for Advanced Workplace Strategies (AWA), and we work on the workplace strategy and change management for large customers like Microsoft, Google, and other people, corporate firms. So I think we'll start with Rohit.
My name is Rohit, and I run a practice called Roar Design Studio with my partner and wife Ramya. And we started in 2019, and at this point of time, we're doing a lot of interior design for residential projects, apartments, duplex, and villas. And we also do some amount of turnkey work. Most of our projects we execute also. So I work with a lot of our engineering team to kind of make it real, the designs. So yeah, that's my brief intro.
Thank you, Rohit. And Ashwini?
Well, you're a civil engineer, and I'm neither an architect or a civil engineer. I began my practice organically, and the practice has grown over 25 years. Uh, all the people you work with in your workplace, we serve in their homes. We have a healthy residential practice, and because we've approached design in a non-box like situation, since I didn't study architecture, some of our results are fun. I was telling one of the people who invited us that we're just finishing a bathroom for somebody, one bathroom, 5 feet by 8 feet, 25 lakhs. So it's crazy to live in the times that we live in, and I'm quite excited to be designing at this time in our lives because people have enough to spend and at the same time are well traveled. So yeah, like Rohit, we found a unique way in which to execute what we do because the kind of work we do, lots of people need to have patience because it's extremely detailed and we go into every little detail of people's life. And I was asking you earlier, how do you collect information? And we have a unique way in which we do lifestyle study, whether it's an office or a home or whatever. And that's why I'm here, I guess.
Thank you, Ashwini. And Guru, what about you?
Yeah, hi, I'm Guru. I head a practice called Bed Pineapple with my wife, Shivranjani. So we do different varieties of projects. We do commercial projects. We're doing an IT park. So and we're doing a lot of residential projects as well. So it's a mixed bag of things, tiny to big. Like we've done like small boutiques which are like 250 square feet to like large spaces which are like 5 lakh square feet. So it's a mixed variety of projects which we do, and we try to experiment in each project, like something new from the previous one. We always have this ideology sort of like, okay, this has been done, so let's try something new. So that sort of drives our practice, I would say. That's the idea which we go through. And yeah, so we are a small team, and consciously we keep a team small as well because we have more control on the projects and the details which we do, the nuances of the project we design, which we keep it in check. And yeah, we do a little bit of like design and build as well for like primarily like office spaces and then the small scale apartment buildings.
Wonderful. Thank you, Guru. And since you use the word nuances, and I think let me get into the first question on this, and let's bring the topic back to what we are here for. So, what do you think about the nuances in terms of privacy in the bathroom areas? How do you think about those things, and how do you plan to design such that the privacy is at the without any hindrance to the people in the house, but is still taken care of? How do you design that kind of space?
See, privacy is always like sort of subjective within a family also. That keeps changing from people to people. Say maybe like from older to younger people, the privacy levels keep changing. So I was just thinking, some years back,
Mhm.
so movie theaters and shopping malls, they started removing modesty panels from the urinals, right? And then the movie theaters, they put up a screen, like a digital display, which keeps doing something, like just some information being projected onto that. So that I think it was like 15 years back, the first time when I saw that, I was like, surprised. I'm like, this is nice. This works. So privacy is as I said, it's sort of varies from person to person, right? Within the family or within uh, uh, like you know public space also, it keeps varying. So it's a perception. So in our project which we designed, so we've done a few residential projects which each client will have a specific requirement. So we understand the client's requirement and say like, okay, same as Ashwini was saying, it's we get to know the people who's going to use and what sort of usage they're going to have, because toilet is something a bathroom or a toilet is something the first day start of beginning of the day, that's the first space we experience.
Yeah, but then you see, Guru, and I think I'll go to Rohit on this. When you talk in terms of privacy, the moment you close the door is private, right? So why you need to design inside something private?
See, now once I think most women have this complaint now that the men go to the washroom, they don't come back for more than an hour at least. So so once you lock the room, they can't use it for an hour almost. So probably at least in the projects where there's a level of budget to it, we have a larger space to work with. The square footage of the bathroom itself is bigger nowadays, sometimes even bigger than the bedroom itself. So how you use the space, maybe how you separate the shower, it becomes a separate zone itself. The shower is separate, the WC area is separate. So you tend to, at least a couple can use the bathroom even when one of the the zone is used. So it's becoming in that fashion, or how it's done in the hotels. You have different spaces. So then how can you make that more private, whether the exhaust is functioning right? Those kind of challenges come into this small zone.
So basically, now the bathroom is from one person used to become kind of a couple use.
Yeah, a minimum
That's
of
what
a
you're saying.
couple. Sometimes if it's a small family, probably kids also might use it for something. It tends to happen, but a minimum of 2 people, I think, is becoming a reality. We provide his and hers basins in most of our projects now. So that's how it's changing, I think, from at least in the last 10 years for sure.
Okay, I tend to agree on that. And Ashwini, what do you think? How much value this products per se? Because it's a space, and you're going to use that space for an hour or so, every day. And how much impact does the product inside that zone, is valued? How much does it require to be so nicely designed? Because it's a functional area, right? So if it is functional area, then you just need to wash your hands and get out of the space. But when you're spending hour there, do you think it all adds value? The design, the quality of the products, and all this in value?
No, I'd say that because, I mean, if we dovetail into that first question, I think privacy has changed because our habits have changed. I mean, I think as architects, sometimes you assist people to read in the bathroom, or you assist people to change in the bathroom. Earlier, everything was outside and you were inside. Your clothes were out, everything was out. So, you had to do everything within the closed doors. Now there's much more expansive nature in that. So the product forms part of that expansive, because you're selling the experience of that time that you spend in there, which should be lovely. So I think the product makes a difference, and products like this are, how shall we say, ergonomic. And so the interaction with the product is also super nice. So till you have experienced something really beautiful, you also don't know whether shit, shave, bath, and get out is the only way to use function. Because function also means if you have a tub in the bathroom, you're soaking it in. Then you want something to be nice and full and, whatever, to soak in it. You don't want it to trickle. You don't want it to go off mid. You want the pressure to run. So I think product is everything. It's like an ingredient in cooking. If you buy good tur dal organically, then the way the dal tastes is fab. So the product, I think, forms that form in the ingredient. So it's everything.
Okay. So basically, you are talking in terms of how the product interacts with you in terms of your cognitive space and your emotions and other things.
Yeah,
So
because you are spending that time. Earlier, you shit, shave, bathe, get out.
Okay.
But if you're spending that little extra time there, why are bathrooms bigger? Or like he said, why do you remove the urinal? Is because the habit has changed. You're okay. you're okay. Like we have glass partitions now in bathrooms,
Yeah.
which is not at all like privacy at all. It's fully aram and open.
So Ashwini kept saying that shit shave and get out.
Yeah.
Is
Sorry.
it wrong?
No, it isn't. I mean,
Yeah.
that function must be met. Fit for
Yeah.
purpose must be done.
So,
But that purpose can be done nicely also.
yeah, so like you have other spaces to feel the goodness, and you have this drawing room area which is very beautifully done and all that. Why you need to spend time there in the bathroom?
But it's the only
Is
space
it
no one
required?
enters, no? In the living room, it belongs to a lot of people. In the bathroom, it's you and your relationship in that space for those 3 activities.
Yeah, and you need
Nicely
to
done.
And most of the times, 50% of the times, you make Instagram reels there.
Reels, yeah. Why not?
At the risk of revealing personal information, still,
Yeah.
like my dad would spend probably 5-10 minutes,
Yeah.
use and count. I take a longer period. My younger brother takes even longer. I feel the time in the washroom is just increasing with each generation.
So basically, you're using your smartphone to
Yeah,
check
you
out
end up
your
spending a
reels
lot
and
of time doing something or the other. Some people make deals in the bathroom.
Yeah, so that's actually sensible because you're saying privacy, and that's the only place that's private fully. Whether a couple uses it or 4 people use it, it's a space that's sharp, fully sorted, and everything that you need is in that one space. So you can plug in, you can talk. So in a way, it's the only private space in a very public life that we all need now.
So, does it mean that the architects and the designers have purposely did this, that you get pushed into the bathroom because all the areas are not private?
I think
like
it's
that.
I wouldn't say that.
Yeah.
So it's like I wouldn't say that. Say even adding on to Rohit's point, the time is becoming more and more. Even not being offensive, even in the older generation, other people just take the newspaper and go.
Yeah.
Right. So they used to spend time reading there.
The quiet space.
Yes. So that is more like a quiet space.
I also think it's aspirational. Like when you go to a resort, you see very well done spaces, and when you are in a phase of your life where you can afford to create something of that kind for yourself, I think you end up doing it.
So when you go to resort, what do you look for actually? What drives you to pick up a resort?
I think it's more to do with the experience of the overall stay, and bathroom probably that I don't know, maybe that sensual nature of the advertisements of the bathroom products kind of might be running in our minds when you see, and you want to have that as part of your lifestyle also. So it's quite aspirational in that regard.
So you just moved the blame from your architect designer side to the advertisements, right?
I think it's all part of it. It's not one person contributing.
So,
everything.
Sorry,
Yeah, please go ahead.
but it's becoming a preference. Whenever we go out, the first thing to hotel also we'll be like, okay, first
Check out the bathroom.
bathrooms. How they are.
Yeah, so that is there, but you also check out the room.
Yes.
You also check out the window, and open
Yes,
the window and
yes,
see
yes,
the
yes.
thing. So, does the selection of the room and the space is driven more by bathrooms or by?
I think in hotels and resorts for sure.
For sure, yeah.
I mean, not one over the other, but it becomes a major component.
So, as Ashwini, you were saying that there's quite a clear shift in the way people interact with the environment, right? And this is what you are saying, and that's how is being reflected
In every
the
space.
houses, in the residences, and the workspace what you work on. So basically, do you think that in the area of the house, which is more important, the bathroom or the kitchen or the drawing room? What is the cultural shift here? I'm just trying to figure that out.
You want to go?
No.
Go ahead.
No, after you.
No, go.
I wouldn't say one over the other, but I feel the importance of the washroom has increased over years. The living and all has been important from the start. There's always guests or somebody coming to that space, but the washroom space or the so-called the alone time has gathered more importance, I would say.
Okay, so let me now.
No, so I actually want to add to that. I feel that as an architect, leave the cultural shifts that have happened, that every space must be nice. So your kitchen, living. The bathroom was never given this level of emphasis earlier. Now it's given that emphasis. So you can, basically, I'd say that as an architect, the most complex, all 7 trades that work in a building, work in a bathroom. And if you look at the complexity of that, if it's not well laid out, if it's not well thought through, if it's not well sorted, the fit for purpose, what I kept saying, shit shave bath, that doesn't happen properly. So if you've spent enormous amount of time in lighting, enormous amount of time in everything, and you don't do that in your bathroom space, then the same quality of life doesn't run through everything. So I think people are talking about quality of life. So, and also I find that in the millennial shift, there is also an embrace in technology, because amount of technology they showed us here, people do want music tuck. You do want your geysers to go on when you're coming, because we also have less help at home today. You know, you have to do a lot more yourself. So people are embracing technology in bathroom. You want to, by the time, otherwise you have to call someone, yeah, geyser laga do. Now you can put on the geyser on your way to work, you know, on your way back home. So your bath is set. So I'd say it is a place where you cleanse, you clean, very different from the food place. In the food place, there's a very different purity. And in the bathroom space, we are slowly moving to that level of quality of life in that. People don't leave their bathrooms in a mess as they used to before. I can see that in my practice. I mean, people do worry, you know, bacteria in a toothbrush. I'm saying to that level of detail. So then obviously product will line up with that is my sense.
No, I agree with you completely on that, because Ashwini, I think as the quality of living in India is growing and we are on that clear path of growth, and people's expectations from the spaces they interact with, where their minds are being engaged, they are definitely expecting a lot more quality and ease of use, and then comfort level. And so let me bring this discussion to the brass tacks. So I will ask Guru, how do you design a bathroom? And she was talking about all the traits are there in that bathroom.
Yeah, all
So how do you
7.
design?
Yes.
All 7 traits are there.
Okay, how do you design a bathroom is a question we to start with. Say you need a wet and dry area. That's the first point of planning as a principle. You separate the wet and dry areas, and then comes your say then comes how what sort of what are tangible to that space. Say it's dry space, what are all the tangible elements? Then to the wet space, what are the tangible elements? Then comes then the next layer will be how do you experience the space? So as soon as you get into it, your senses should it's like a routine thing which you do on a daily basis, but at the same time, what sort of sensory experience it gives, be it texture, be it the touch of the the material, whether cold, does it feel warm, does it feel rough, does it feel smooth? So those sort of things also layer by layer will keep adding up. Then of course functionality is function. What all things has to be put together in an organized way, what usability wise also, how do you put things together? So that will be the next step. And then putting everything together, then we'll say no. Actually, I would say I wanted to tell one more point also. So as culturally also, we moved lot, evolved a lot from what we were say 50 years back, having the washroom outside, single space for bathing and toilets. From there, say if you traveled in other say in Europe, 4-bedroom apartment will have 2 toilets max. For a 4-bedroom villa here, we're making 6.5 or 7 toilets now. So that's the level of that's where we have come to.
Yeah.
That's interesting, because I always thought that Europe is a modern country and they will have toilet per room, I guess, and you are saying half of it.
Half of it.
So, but then their cultural difference is that they usually don't have the kids around. So they don't the kid has grown from beyond 18, he does not love to stay there. So maybe that's the culture we are talking about here. Now, having said that, one thing always this is on the back of mind, is it might be, don't take it as a joke, it's a serious question. Why do you put the geyser button outside the bathroom than inside? It'll be more easier, right, to switch on the geyser when you're inside.
That can be two-way, no?
Oh, I usually find the geysers button outside.
No, that's so that
Why is
you
that?
switch it on, you do something else, and then come back ready for the shower.
It's a real question, don't take it lightly.
Yeah,
No, I know. In our projects, we do both actually.
Yeah.
So it depends on what the client's habit is. We do both.
Because as a civilian, what I understood is that earlier, when the things were not very safe and very safe, putting a geyser button inside the bathroom was all about splashing
water. Yes.
So maybe that. But now that technology has changed completely, I think we should bring the geyser button in. That should be our call to action, right?
No, now the geyser button is on your phone.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It is on your phone.
Or you don't even have a geyser button. You just have the heat pumps.
Yeah.
The moment you switch on,
Yeah, it's good to go.
Good to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That brings me to something which I'm really passionate about, global warming, climate change. And I know that next 10, 15 years, we are going to have very challenging times in the cities. And Bangalore is facing currently right now the water scarcity what is there.
Right.
So consciously, all the designers like you, do you design bathroom to take care of that part of it?
To a extent, maybe in terms of selection of the fixtures, like at the best, what we are currently being able to do is maybe use aerated options in the fixtures itself. But maybe at least the segment we are catering to, it probably not in line with sustainability goals, I would say, because the products do tend. I mean, those products actually use more water. Like if you go for a rain shower or anything with different modes, it will use more water. But I wouldn't say it is something which is used on a daily basis. It will be used on a day when you want to probably relax a little bit more, maybe once in a month. On a day-to-day basis, they would have other modes to function, which is on a regular. Like I actually, once these topics were shared, I just tested it out at home. Like with a regular shower, you almost use probably 1 to 1.5 buckets of water equivalent. So I mean, even if you have a 1 bucket shower, it's similar on a day-to-day basis. But there are days when you want to probably chill a little bit more, you end up using more water with these products. So I think it's ultimately how you use it, and if you have that mindset of to save water, you will figure out a way to do that.
What do you think, Ashwin?
So actually, we do an average consumption per household when we take up a project, and we look at it and say that the say BWSSP average is 150 liters of water per person per day. Anything you do over that means you're taking it away. So we usually enter conversations related to household planning always with this, because water and power are two things that we actively discuss. And so we talk about the national averages, we talk about the local averages, and then say that suppose it's an individual house. Then we say that the following 3 rooms will have this kind of head. The other rooms will not require that head of water. So why don't we design for luxury, which allows you to use once in a way but at your discretion? And the other parts of it, very often I've had conversations which say, why do you need more than 2.5 buckets for a bath? So the bucket, a fancier bucket has come in to many of our projects. We say bathroom cleaning, for example, is not just bath, it's also maintenance. So we talk about each of those heads of account. And when we talk about those heads of account, we say, this is your plus, this is your plus. You can't be using 62,000 liters of water for this household because that many people are not going to get water. So we've used guilt very well, very, very well. And it usually works out because at least we bring them to the present situation, and people now are open to windmill. People are open to, I mean, most of our projects now, definitely for water is on solar. So geyser bills have come down. In this time, you can harness electricity. We are now making sure that at least 2 to 3 kilowatts are generated. And there's a good ratio for that calculation, right? For the terraces, if they're individual homes, how much you can do. We create the spare capacity.
100 square feet, I guess, per kilowatt.
Per kilowatt. So those kind of discussions are had well before we decide for a product. Then we say, okay, go to the product.
So it is only at the discussion level, or Guru, what do you think it has gone deeper and people are actually?
It is actionable.
It has gone deeper because say even Fima also the products they have when you're talking about water consumption, the aerated fittings are there, fixtures, so they consume less water. At the same time, you'll get the same experience of how we've been used to. And apart from that as well, so talking on other
larger scale.
So we are talking about on an individual level how do we control things. On a larger level also, we look at products which are sustainable products. Say one of my friend, he's into completely sustainable residential developments. So what he does is they don't even use flooring tiles. They use lime plaster. Lime plaster, and then so those sort of alternate materials also we look at.
Yeah, so basically the circular economy you're talking about.
Yes.
The local thing.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a
not
wonderful.
Only local, I think also that natural and less finished can be as beautiful.
Yes.
And those spaces are outstanding.
Definitely.
So I think we have to show that through our way of thinking and working and our selection process, because as architects, I think we educate as much as we deliver. So I think that combo is quite intense, I think, for all of us, no?
Just to add on to this, like sustainable development is a big beast to
Tackle.
tackle.
Yeah.
I don't think
True.
individually it's just not possible.
No, but
It
you
has
have to
to-
do it individually.
Yeah, I
right?
mean, I'm
Yeah.
saying it. You don't see big results on an individual basis. It has to be a consolidated effort. Now, for example, now before we start a renovation, if we have the opportunity, we tell the clients, even we fight with the builders before handover, don't give anything because we are going to remove it. Client wants to change the finishes. At
So
that
don't
stage,
waste.
don't waste by putting it and then making us remove. We are wasting a lot of time and effort and resources doing it. So that is the first step probably in our line of work when we are doing renovations. And then
Renovations like bathrooms are complex.
yeah, it's very complex because you're breaking first, then you're changing it. So that it's a huge waste. I agree.
No, I
Completely
agree with you, Rohit, on that. And frankly speaking, I was talking to Chandan, and he was talking about most of the products here in Fima is kind of supports green initiative, and it is recyclable material. The water is completely used 100% within the system itself. So there is a lot of focus on this, but uh, as you said, it is. I don't tend to agree on that part that individually people cannot do, because I personally believe that each individual, if they get onto it, will be able to make a difference. And same way, every area can be made sustainable. Every area, I can 100% vouch for that. And this is where how things, when I see here, look around, I find that it is very exciting for me to see people do have focus on this. So that's kind of good news, and I personally also appreciate, apart from all this paraphernalia and all that, there is a lot of depth goes into designing each and every element. Thanks to all of you who actually go deeper and design the things which are ergonomic, which are soothing, which are beautiful. So, to an extent, how much that design values into your own aesthetic design, I'm talking about, not the functional design I'm talking about. How much that values into designing the space?
It does quite a lot, because it's all about giving new experience to the user. So each we have we met like a lot of people who are like, no, okay, we want something fresh and new. So every time it's more like fashion. No? Trends keep changing, cultures keep changing. People's mindset keep changing. So starting like the moment they keep growing, they want new things. So that is sort of also a driving factor for us in terms of design, saying, okay, let's do something fresh. Let's experiment with something.
So, Ashwini, when you design a bathroom, what is the timeline you think this bathroom will be at the cutting edge? What is the timeline? 5 years, 10 years, 15 years?
No, actually, I feel like slightly differently from what you were saying. I think that a bathroom is a universal space, like living is a universal space. We haven't stopped breathing or eating or any of those things. So I think that as an architect, my entire time in life goes into making sure that we are universal and we are current. Trend means change. Universal means longevity. That does not mean that you can't replace apple for apple. But I think one's whole orientation is to make it universal. So it's a big word. Aesthetic is a big word, like comfortable. Like sometimes you go into spaces and you say, oh my God, it's so comfortable. And that's such a big word, like between T1 and T2 airport. So T1 doesn't look as fancy, but it tells me exactly how to behave as a user. I know I have to go here, I have to do this, I have to get up and go out. I find that really cool. But on the other hand, this one is visually distracting, but it takes me forever to get to where I want to go. So between the two of them, I'd say though this is current and pretty and everything, I prefer a T1. So I think my whole approach to design itself is like that. It's more like, no, it should beautiful tells you how to behave. I'm very well, say, formed. So the structure and the form will do 80% of the work. The 20% is the choices that you make around that to enhance that first decision you made. And I think T1 made that decision first, that will be organized. And a bathroom is one of the most organized spaces because you have towels, you have hand towels, you have laundry. I mean, you just think of the number of things that we need to do in that one space. It needs to be totally comfortable, totally good looking. And if anybody walks into the bathroom after you, it should look like as if you never went in there at all. I mean, look at the demand on that space. I mean, I think as your wife, she'll say, hey, why do you leave the bathroom wet? Yeah, come on. Like, like mop up. So things like that, perfectly making sure that the nanny taps work well, that they never smell.
So you brought a very interesting thought to me on this, Ashwini, because now my friend L. Venkatesh from CRR designed that T1 airport here. And
He's my cousin.
Really?
Mhm.
Wonderful.
Mm.
We'll touch base later.
Yeah.
So, so from T1 to T2, there's a complete shift. Now the T2 also is sustainable. T1 may not be. I'm not sure. I have not checked that out. But that shift we were talking earlier, the shift in the spaces, bathroom design spaces, has come from T1 to T2.
Yeah.
Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I do.
And if you do, how much more important it is to have the functionality intact and just the kind of paraphernalias are just beautiful products.
No, but listen, both T1 and T2 don't take into consideration that almost everybody who goes into a bathroom will have a bag. And they don't take into consideration that we will take a mobile in. So there are no surfaces. So it's very tightly designed. But I'm balancing between my bag, my butt, and my phone. I don't think that's ergonomic at all. So I don't think no matter what it is, we've thought that through at all. You put a hook, and if you look at the distance between the hook and the WC, if you've forgotten by some reason to put it on that, you'll be midair. I mean, it is genuinely a headache. And if you're a girl, for example, you have more than one layer to remove. Now, these kind of details are never thought of. So overall, it looks pretty. And if you look at it by Vastu, most girls won't set the bag down because it's Ma Lakshmi. So you won't set it down on the floor. You'll try and juggle here, you'll try and juggle here. This is not cool at all.
Very interesting thing you're talking about all this Vastu and other. And coming from Vedic culture, bathroom was never part of the house.
It was always
how
outside.
So how do you reconcile with that? But I think that is a bigger discussion.
Is.
So Rohit, what do you think about the cultural shift in this?
With respect to
add to that, I would also like you to tell me more about the latest trend in the spaces what we design, DEI. So what do you think about the diversity inclusion in the bathroom spaces?
With respect to, sorry, I didn't catch the last part.
So
DEI?
diversity, inclusion,
okay.
and equity in the bathroom spaces.
DIE.
Okay.
So, what do you think that this should be made for all the kind of people in particular house? Everything should be made.
I think in the house, I mean, we tend to, based on the family structure we provide. Now, if there is a older person in the family who's staying with them, we make those arrangements in that regard. If it's a duple, we make sure the levels are sorted out, so that they can easily access. If there is a access according to that, that way. But in common spaces or like say in a public space, we definitely need to do it. And maybe, it should be proportional. You should have an idea. You should have that research done for that particular facility. How many of, that diversity, or how many kinds of people would most likely be using, and we should plan according to that. The numbers should be little, you have to do it facility specific, ideally. Like, see, we have these numbers based on probably the building codes, which may not be the case for each and every facility or each and every office space. It can vary a lot. So maybe that level of flexibility in the codes, I don't know whether we are there yet, but that would help us to modify it as required for that specific building.
Okay, so I think...
No, but with the diversity thing, like if you take a public space like a bathroom, in India, Japan, all these places, we definitely crouch. So the crouch ones in the aspirational India, they all look at it and turn up their nose, but it's a healthy way to do it. But we don't handle that properly in the crouch spaces, and we don't handle the WC very properly. So if I want to move from crouch to diversity, then I need help. And there's no common language in which that can be translated. And there's no inclusion in bathrooms anywhere because the amount of technology, you have to put your hand under a blower. And today the people who are traveling could be your carpenter, could be your painter. And you can see the distinct discomfort in many of these spaces, and that we as human beings have to kind of soften to that. So you actually have to go up and say, "Aapko kasht lag raha hai, hum bataye aapko." So you actually have to, there's no, you can't segue into this
So-
very easily.
I do understand where you're coming from, Ashwini, the universal design concept. Basically,
Yeah.
it should be intuitive rather than
Yeah.
specific.
Yeah, we shouldn't push people to say you better be better than who you are
Yeah.
to do a functional
Yeah.
thing like shit shave bath. We shouldn't push people that much. Don't make it like, I love this store, I love the product, my wealthy customers will definitely love it. But I'm saying at some level, I do feel very bad.
True.
You know,
True,
you do
true,
feel
true.
bad because there's also an auto driver that we can serve. And in our downstream practice, if you are building a beautiful home and you're going to chuck 50% of it, I would say that I have a downstream to buy to take all your material. That market is actually not addressed anywhere.
I agree. Anyway, so I think we are kind of running on time, but what I would like to ask all three of you as a designers, that when you present to your clients who you are giving a presentation about their house, so how much you focus on the bathroom design per se, individually, if you can answer that question, and how much the bathroom environment, the biophilia inside the bathroom, the green spaces inside the bathroom, also how much focus you bring to sell your ideas to the customer in terms of bathroom.
So in any design process, we go through say 3-4 stages of design, starting with probably the mood board first, and then the concept design, and then we develop the concept. So pretty much, I don't know like how others do it, but in our case, especially for residents, we have the concept split into two presentations. We first cover all the common areas, common as in living bedrooms, which are the larger spaces, and then in line with that, we develop the concepts for the bathroom after that, so that the suite is designed integrated better. We don't make it an afterthought once the construction starts. We do it in the starting stage so that the concept is very clear. So it is, I would say, probably 60-40. We have 40% of the time we cover the utility spaces and the washroom areas, so that it is very clear. And powder room, especially, usually it's like a high in demand in terms of they really want to spruce it up. In a residential project, they want it to be the best because after all they'll invite the guests there and they would be using it primarily. So
what do you think, Ashwini? What is the percentage of focus you bring to the bathroom spaces in your presentation?
I'd say that spatially 100%, because like I said, it's a complex activity. So we do spend time on it spatially, which means that when we allocate square footage, we definitely look at that. And the wealthier people are okay with slightly bigger ones, and builders, for example, will give you a pokey thing. So the pokey ones we spend a lot of time on, because everything that a big place needs, a pokey place needs. So we spend a lot of time thinking that through, and as a practice we look at utilities very well, because everything can look good, but if there isn't a place for everything and everything has a place, then spatially it doesn't work out no matter how good it looks, because you should be able to walk into any space and it should hold, whether you have good habits or bad habits. So I think that study and breakdown of those habits, and I think our spatial work definitely puts pressure on people to change, because we bring it up, to discussion and wind it up and then dial it up and then keep dialing it up till everybody bends at some level, saying that, hey, listen, I've taken pictures of your current home and it's unsustainable. You can't sustain. If a space is meant to free up your time and energy, the way you're living now, it doesn't do it. So we spend a lot of time thinking that through. I mean, we've got pictures of people's towels which smell like 7-day-old sewer. And you're like, why is there no place to hang your towel in the sun? So like when we do a window, for example, that level of detail, instead of setting the window right up here, we say we'll give you that little depth and this has enough light, we can give you a rod there. So your bathroom never smells. So these kitchen, bathroom, utility, all the other things, everyone gives lots of time. We spend a lot of time on this, so the other spaces automatically look good. So I think it's...
so it's a much more focus you have on this.
Yeah, it's focused.
What about you?
There are two parts to it, I would say, the answer. One is when you're looking at private bathrooms, and then others like other part will share, like what the topic was, shared bathrooms or commercial spaces, office spaces, and then public spaces. So that coming back to the point when you had asked about how inclusive it can be, right? So this again, when you said about Japan, I could relate to the Tokyo toilet design, which happened recently. They invited a lot of architects. So their agenda was like, it should be safe, for women, for like it should be well lit. It should be like accessible to everybody. Like physical challenge access was like a primary concern over there, and like they invited architects to do different sort of these things. So it was say Shikhar Rabana designed one toilet which was like which had like a it's completely glass with the electronic control cards which can go opaque and this thing. So it was fantastic. The idea of what he was explaining is like I wanted to like see through the toilet so that people will feel it's clean. It's safe to enter the toilet.
I agree.
So that is the
Nicely transparent.
yes.
Yeah.
So that is one part of it. So residential part of it again. So what we look at is like it's more of like what Ashwini was saying. It's cultivating a habit. You're changing the habit, and the design should cater to making your lifestyle better. Your small habits, your brushing habits. So when we talk about people are into say like bacteria shouldn't affect the toothbrushes. So that is like it becomes like evolution of your lifestyle.
Wonderful. So I think such a fantastic discussion. I could hear a lot of stuff happening on this, and I'm very excited that the shift towards focus on the bathrooms are there. So fantastic, and thank you everyone, and
Thank
such a
you.
pleasure to interact with
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you
you,
so
Rohit.
much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Guru.
Pleasure.